Greetings once again to our viewing audience, and welcome to another episode of our 15th anniversary season of Meak Pro Media Special Edition News. Of course, this is the founder, executive producer, Miko Evans, coming back at you once again with another fabulous interview and other updates and community news like we always do. And once more, and again, if you want to check out our previously broadcast shows, both the TV talk show version as well as the online radio version, which of course our podcast, please visit all of the information that's located at the bottom of your screen. In Atlanta, we're in the midst of Atlanta Pride Week. So happy Pride to everybody in the ATL. This coming weekend would be the annual Atlanta Pride Festival. And it's going to be held, of course, at Piedmont Park. Meak Productions, once again, will be marching in the parade. This will be our third year marching. And of course, celebrating our company's 20th conceptual anniversary. And we're very excited about it. And we got some, I think we got some extra things in store this year. So I'm very excited about that. And now, without delay, it is my pleasure to bring to you another special guest on our show. And it's been a long time since we had some new recruits from our talent agency division. And this particular beautiful soul registered with our agency around about the early part of this year, and was able to be featured, have their debut featured in our 15th anniversary Spring Memorial talent agency campaign, and looking as fabulous and beautiful as ever. I have with us on the show Miss Rosemary and Blank, baby. Let me get you unmuted so we can actually get you on. Come on.
Hello.
Hello, darling. How are you, sweetie?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for actually not just joining the talent agency, but thank you for also being a part of our show for the first time. And for those people that don't know, she, Sister Rose, comes from Savannah. She just moved up here from Savannah, Georgia. You just completed your tenure at the Savannah College of Art and Design?
I did. I just recently graduated from my BFA program, and I'm out and I'm hitting the streets, pounding the pavement.
Awesome. What was your actual major? Tell our audience.
I majored in acting. It was originally called performing arts. They've just recently made the change, acting. We did a lot of on-stage and on-screen work, but I really kind of found my groove in on-screen. I was lucky enough to actually be in my university's student-run sitcom. That's something that we do every year. It's all done by the students, and it very often goes on to win student Emmys, student college television awards, things like that. So I was very fortunate to be a part of that project, and I think that's where I really kind of found my stride when it comes to acting in front of the camera.
You know what? This is something interesting because I did not know that SCAD had actually added an acting course or anything like that. When you see, when you hear about SCAD, the College of Art and Design, I'm thinking that it's just everything: graphic design, web design, illustration, painting, and stuff like that, photography and stuff. I didn't know. I had no idea that they also added the performing arts part. I'm thinking
our entertainment arts are out of this world. We've got an amazing acting program. We have wonderful film and video students. We've got we got dramatic writers, we've got production designers, costume designers, and they all work together on all of our different projects, and it's always a great time.
Wow, that is so awesome. I'm so glad they added that program. I had no idea. I wish they would have had that program when I was going to school.
If only.
If only. Okay. Tell us a little bit about, for our viewing audience, tell us a little bit about your background. Are you originally from Savannah?
I am not. I moved there for college. I was originally from way up north in little tiny Rhode Island. Not a lot going on there, but a lot of history. Love the place. But I kind of fell in love with acting and performing when I was in the 4th grade. To be perfectly honest, I wanted to be the most liked grandchild.
Wow.
There were 3 others that I had to compete with, and I wanted to be number 1. And you know what? My grandfather, he's a lover of the fine arts. He loves to sing. He loves to perform. He used to always do that. So I thought, why don't I throw my hat in the ring?
Yeah.
I might come out on top next Christmas. And I fell in love with it. I haven't stopped doing it since.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, tell us a little bit about speaking of your performing arts career and stuff, when did you have, even when you were young, did you participate in a lot of school plays?
I
And
did.
wow, you
hmm
did.
When I
What was
was
your first
young,
one?
we did a very ill-advised production of The Secret Garden in the fourth
Oh,
grade, which
okay.
I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but it is a very heavy show for how old are you? Eight, nine,
Yeah.
10? It's a little intense. But after that, we did Into the Woods, and that was in the fifth grade, and I just kind of kept doing it all throughout middle school and high school up until still today.
Wow, awesome. So, hey, your background is very intensive. That's why I'm glad we have you.
100%.
Also, tell us a little bit about your coming out or coming into. I'm gonna take a cue from a girl, Imani Van Zap. We're actually coming into the awareness of who we truly are. So, tell us about your awakeness when it comes to your identity.
Yeah. It was something that I kind of struggled with for a while. I think you talk to anybody that identifies as queer in one way or another, they're going to say, like, you always know, but it just kind of takes, it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta, you ignore it for a while. I always kind of liken it, this is not original, I'm stealing this, but it's like a pebble in your shoe.
Mm-hmm.
It's at first you can kind of ignore it, you keep walking and it's just there, it's whatever. But over time, the longer you're walking with it, it's digging in more and more. It's becoming more and more of a nuisance. It's kind of building, it's compounding. And then eventually you just kind of can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And you are ready to do your own thing. And I'm very fortunate that I have a wonderful family and accepting support group. I have all my friends and family were always really close with me. They, especially my friends in college, when you're figuring stuff out, you're trying new things. I'm wearing clothes that do not work for my body. Um, and I'm very grateful that I've had everyone along the way to kind of support me to where I am now.
Wow, yeah, you are very, very fortunate because most people that have journeyed through the trans experience, their stories are not the same, and that's why I think it's very important for us to highlight the variety of stories when it comes to people coming into their own,
Hmm.
because everybody's not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? One
Not
group
at
of
all.
people is not a monolith, and so even when it comes to us in the rainbow, there are different cultures within that rainbow. And
Hmm.
though we're LGBT as it relates to either our sexual orientation or gender identity, um, we still carry those cultural experiences with us as well. So, so everybody's dynamic is going to be very different. Some people had it better, some people didn't. And so you're very blessed to have had that type of family,
Absolutely.
especially in today's time.
Hmm.
You're very fortunate and stuff. When did you? Because what I want to find out was, did you start out coming out as trans, or did you actually thought that you was just gay or lesbian, and then came out as trans later?
I definitely jumped into the deep end. I went right into trans. I think I never really questioned myself as gay because I've never really had an attraction to men. And I always had an attraction to women. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm just like a young straight man. Like this is regular. But the way that I loved women was a very gay way. There's a way that queer people and queer women particularly love each other. And I think that the way that I loved and that I felt love and the way that I craved love was that of a woman. So
Wow.
I just kind of knew I jumped right into it. And kind of double whammy. Not only am I trans, but I'm also a lesbian. So we get a kind of twofer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because you don't get too many stories of people who, what I'm saying, mostly you always hear it from the gay end or the lesbian
Hmm.
end, but never from the heterosexual end where, yes, I was heterosexual starting out, but realized that I was not in the correct body. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's we don't hear enough of that. We really don't hear enough of that, and so that was, yeah, really, really interesting. How did when you started recognizing who you were
Mm.
very young, and how did the rest of your neighborhood or society take you from where you're from?
I mean, well, I will say that I didn't come out until I was in college, I didn't come out until I was 20. So
Mm,
a lot of my childhood, excuse me, a lot of my childhood was kind of just playing the part. It was a lot of playing along. It was a lot of watching what my peers were doing and kind of mimicking that. And I have lots of memories as a child of being drawn to typically feminine concepts, whether it be toys or outfits or like media, movie, TV shows. And I remember myself being drawn to them and kind of saying, no, that's not for me. Like that's not for boys. Like you're not supposed to like that. And that always has kind of like left me a little sad because I feel like I missed out on girlhood. I never really kind of got to be like just like a little kid, like playing with my ponies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I will say that I passed as straight for a while. Like I never really had issues. I was always kind of flamboyant and outspoken, and people would question my sexuality, but I always dated women, so I could back up my claims, right? There's no way I'm
Mm-hmm.
lying. So that was kind of my experience.
Wow. Did you have was your church I mean, I'm sorry, was your family, were they kind of, in the church, or were they religious or anyway?
My family is not very religious. No, we're a bunch of lot of heretics. My grandfather is actually gay, and he just married his longtime partner 2 years ago now.
Wow.
So I've always kind of had like a non-traditional family ever since I was a kid. I didn't like They didn't officially come out to me as gay until I was about 12 years old, but my whole life they were together. It was always my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother and then my grandfather and his partner, and they were always kind of a package deal. And they're all to this day still equal grandparents in my eyes. So I kind of always I had like a base layer of queerness in my life that kind of made it easier to figure things out.
So you was mostly raised by your grandparents too. Like I mean, I was mostly raised by my great grandmother. So I can relate to that. What type of relationship did you have with your mother and father?
I had a lot of time. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, but I was primarily raised with my mother and father. They're very wonderful people. I was very fortunate to have them. I mean, I don't know, they were like regular parents. They drove me to all my rehearsals. They were always supportive of the stuff that I would do, and they never really pushed me to try anything else. Like I went, you go through a lot of phases when you're a kid. You play soccer, you do piano, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but when I started doing dance and started wanting to do musicals and plays and whatnot, they always were like, okay. They drove my rehearsals, they came and saw the shows. They were always a great kind of support crew. So I'm very grateful for them as well.
Wow. First of all, thank you so much for sharing your story, because once again, this validates something that I tell people um, in other conversations, that once again, we're not a monolith, one, and everybody is not the stereotype.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's not the stereotype. Everybody's not a caricature. And so we're going to take our only commercial break.
Hmm.
When we come back, not only do we have more with my girl, Sister Rosemary and Blank, we're going to talk about, we're going to actually get your viewpoints on the state of trans affairs in this country. I would like to know what your take is on that, but we're going to hold that. Let's take this brief commercial break. When we come back, we have more with Sister Rosemary and Blank right here on Meek Pro Media Special Edition News. Don't go anywhere. There's more in store. You're tuned in to Meek Productions syndicated shows. Don't go anywhere. We do have more in store.
Hello, everyone. This is Chris Lugo, Executive Director of the Out Georgia Business Alliance, Georgia's only chamber of commerce serving the LGBTQ+ community and our allies. Formerly known as the Atlanta Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, Out Georgia serves the community by advocating for the most inclusive and equitable business environment, providing support and resources to fuel economic growth, and driving meaningful community connections and impact across the state of Georgia. For more information about membership and the legacy of our organization, please visit outgeorgia.org. Once again, that is outgeorgia.org. We look forward to serving and networking with you soon.
Meek Productions is proud to be an official media partner for this organization.
Greetings, this is Jim Farmer, Festival Director of Out on Film. Since 1987, Out on Film has been dedicated to supporting the exhibition of LGBT film and video art forms with top-rated films, intimate settings, audience participation, and special celebrity events, which gives moviegoers and sponsors a way to connect and extend a 90-minute film into a lasting relationship. For more information about film submission, the history of the festival, and how to donate or sponsor, please visit outonfilm.org. That's outonfilm.org.
Meak Productions is proud to be an official media partner for this organization.
Hey there, this is George Carlton, President of the Metro Atlanta Association of Professionals. Are you looking to expand your business, seeking employment connections, or want to grow your professional network but don't love traditional networking? The MAP is right for you. As Atlanta's first LGBTQ+ business association, we pioneered partnerships and networking with Atlanta's leading changemakers to help you connect authentically, in person and online, with people from diverse industries, identities, and histories. For more information about membership and being part of our legacy, visit our website at www.maapatl.org. Once again, that's mapatl.org. We look forward to connecting with you real soon.
Meak Productions is proud to be an official media partner for this organization. Get ready to take a bite of Peach ATL. Peach ATL is Gay Atlanta's longest running LGBTQ business certified weekly magazine. We deliver the best in community events, arts, gay culture, and entertainment. Get weekly high-profile celebrity interviews and coverage of the most important events and festivals, such as Out on Film, Toy Party, Joining Hearts Pool Party, and all Pride festivals in Atlanta. We distribute all across Metro Atlanta to reach thousands of weekly readers right where they shop, live, and play. Go to peachatl.com for the digital issue and exclusive content, even if you don't have access to a physical copy. Once again, go to peachatl.com to learn more and get your bite of Gay Atlanta. And we are back with the last half of Meek Pro Media Special Edition News with our special guest, Sister Rosemary and Blank in the house, darling, looking beautiful as ever. You still with us, baby?
I sure am. Happy for the second half. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's get going. Once again, for those people who was a part of our first half of our show, you know, Rosemary talked about her background, and she gave a very different take on her trans journey. This time, we're going to actually talk about what is your take concerning the current climate when it comes to transgender issues. Because I know, like I said, you had a different type of experience, which is, and I want to commend, and I'm hoping that they're watching this right now. I want to commend your mother and father, and I want to commend your grandparents for creating a safe environment, because you didn't have to, unlike, you know, many people who may not be from this country, and also people who also may be people of color. You didn't have to worry about the color issue. You didn't have to worry about the religious issue. That's a good thing, child. My God. So, you know, you didn't have to worry about that. So, being someone who used to be cisgender and now who's a trans female, who's actually a lesbian, you know, that was a very powerful story. So, but tell us a little bit about what your take is on the current state of trans issues.
Oh God, I mean, how much time do we have, right?
Baby, we got some time. Well, that's
It
it. We
is.
we got time today.
I mean, obviously, whatever I say, I am no expert. I am merely someone who is living the experience. Um, but I think it's obviously just so ridiculous. I mean, you see that from like a logical standpoint that it is like insane. And a lot of it kind of mirrors what you saw in the 70s when being just straight up classical gay was a big deal. It's the same things. It's they're teaching it to our children. It's in our schools. It's in our media. We can't have that being exposed. It's always think of the children. I find that's something that's very repetitive within the um, Republican right-leaning, right-wing kind of extremism lately. Is they're always worrying about children because they're worried about this mythical future potential voter. They don't care about the person's life. They simply care for the vote to get them the power that they need. But I mean, let children do their thing. Like it's there, and then none of this is detrimental. None of this is going to ruin them or physically harm them. Puberty blockers have decades of research on them being prescribed to children simply because they have an overabundance of puberty or they have an under amount. This has been a constantly prescribed medication for many years, and the fact that it's being used today to help children feel more comfortable in their bodies. I don't think that's the most insane thing ever. And again, it's not just children, it's children that have made this decision with parents and with their doctors. If you're under 18, you are not doing anything on your own. You have to have a full 3 point discussion. And what Republicans and the right wing are doing is they are taking away that choice, that freedom for parents to make that decision for their children. While at the same time, they are saying that parents should have the choice to decide what is being taught in schools when it comes to evolution, the history of slavery, pretty much anything awful that has happened in this world at all. They can choose that, but God forbid they choose their child's happiness.
You know what I think is that's a great way to start off about this because I think it's really a double standard, and it's also hypocritical from not just the right wing and Republican, but anybody, even the conservative, because you even have what people fail to realize, even on the political front, is that you have some Democrats who are conservative.
Mm.
And now both sides are actually feeling the heat now because at the end of the day, you all are just concerned about votes, but you're not really listening to the people. And I find it very strange and interesting that even, and I'm sure you've seen this too, even on these YouTube channels, on these YouTube podcasts, um, whether they be on what's the I forgot the other podcast outlets and stuff that are out there, but
Mhm.
they always bring these guests on their shows, and they are mostly talking from a religious rhetoric and not from science. And we don't have enough of scientific people coming on the show to actually talk about the history of all of this. And
Mhm.
and even going all the way back to ancient times, how there were both trans and intersex people present during those times and
All
stuff like
across
that,
the world.
all across the world and stuff, and scientific evidence is also proving that, really, to be honest with you, the first human being was intersex.
Mhm.
And that's how we were able to have the different variety of not just sexual fluidity, but gender fluidity as well. And so, and this is going all the way back, but it's just very interesting that they don't want to talk about that. And it's like, okay, why are you creating this anti-woke rhetoric when, okay, in order for me to operate machinery, I got to be woke. In order to drive a car, I got to be woke. So you want me to be
Yep.
asleep? You mean you do not want me to be intelligent? You don't want me to be aware of certain things? So it's really a double standard and stuff like that. How do you feel about, because just like there are trans experiences who are that are different, there's a lot of infighting that's also going on within the trans community and also within the LGBTQ plus community as it relates to trans issues. What is your take on that?
I mean, you see a lot of stuff. There's always going to be people arguing with each other. I don't think it's ever right. I know it's very common within the trans community that kind of trans women get this pedestal to be put on, whereas trans men and non-binary and gender non-conforming people are kind of just shoved off to the wayside. And I don't think that's right. I think everyone deserves a seat at the table. And then, like you said, within the larger LGBTQ, there's a lot of like these TERFs nowadays where maybe that they are lesbian or they are like a gay man or something like that. And they are feminists, but they only believe in like the real women, and that those that identify as women or only sometimes women or not women at all, like they don't belong within this group, which again is so silly because humans are constantly trying to put themselves in boxes and constantly trying to label themselves. And the minute that we make a new label or a new box, everyone loses their mind. So I think we should all, why can't we all just get along, right? But no, it is a very real issue. And I think that everyone deserves their chance at representation.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also think that because I think I'm old enough to say this because I don't mind telling my age. I'll be 52 in November.
I could never tell.
You make me feel good. But I just want to really say this, that I think that, first of all, I call the puppet masters, they like it when there's infighting within marginalized communities.
Mhm.
And I think that it's very important for those people who are listening to us right now that you all really, really understanding this. Me being a person of color and a queer man, um, I'm beginning to see the same tactics that they pulled during the civil rights movement as it relates to our ancestors. That same divide and conquer tactic is going on with other marginalized communities, whether you be, with the women's rights movement, whether you be with Jews, whether you
Mhm.
be with black and brown people, even when it comes to people who are indigenous to America, when it comes to those of Asian descent. It's like when anybody that has been marginalized, it's like they love putting implants, put it like that, in our communities to divide and conquer and to really spread misinformation. And so I think that many of us and the members of the community, we really, really need to pay attention to that.
Mhm.
Um, I remember, I want to give a shout out to T.S. Madison. I don't know if you heard of her, but
Oh, of
T.S.
course.
Madison said something very profound when she was on Amanda Seals' podcast show. Shout out to Amanda the Diva. Um, she said something very profound. A lot of people don't want rights, they want privilege.
Mm.
And that thing stuck with me. It stuck with me and it's still sticking with me to this day, because it's like, yeah, there's a difference between human rights and privileges.
Yep.
And when you think about the way that certain people are operating within our community that's supposed to be representing our community, it's like, okay, are you really representing all of us, or is it just about you?
Hmm.
So have you seen that? I just want to make sure that that's not just me that's seeing that.
No, no, I think you're very right. It's a thing that happens. And again, I wish that everyone could kind of realize that the call's not coming from inside the house. Like we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be fighting who is kind of creating this divide in the first place. Why are they trying to keep us distracted? They're
Mhm.
trying they because they're afraid, because they know that if we work together and if we unionize, which you've seen a huge sweep across the nation, specifically in labor unions, the minute that we do that, we have power. And the people in power don't like when we realize that, because that threatens what they already have. And I think
Mhm.
one thing that's really important to focus on is that gender is a construct. Gender is something that we as intelligent creatures have kind of invented, that we have made up. You can argue that that sex is something that's more definitive, but again, you still have intersex people that fall all along this large spectrum like the rest of the world does. So when people say like, oh, like wrong body, like wrong mind, like it's only wrong by the definitions of those around us. It's
Mhm.
not wrong to ourselves, and that's it, because again, gender is all made up. So why can't the feeling in my stomach be enough to decide what is a woman? People are always wondering, how do you define a woman? Well, how do you define a man? It's a feeling. It's a way that you exist. It's a way that you want to be perceived. It's as simple as that.
I like that. I like the way you talked about that, because I know another thing that I've seen is that when I think about the our ancestors and the elders in the LGBTQ plus community, those people who paved the way for us to be as free as we are today. I'm thinking about our ancestral trans leaders, such as like Marsha P. Johnson,
Of
Sylvia
course.
Rivera, and a lot of those other legends, and how they fought for the identity of trans to be respected.
Hmm.
What I'm seeing right now is, and it could be also many of us in the elder community, we may not be educated like we should when it comes to our young trans, to make them understand that don't drop the word trans, because too many people from the past fought for trans lives to be respected as
Hmm.
human beings and stuff like that. Yeah, you might not be biologically a woman yet, but you are a trans woman, and it's okay to say that you are a trans woman.
Hmm.
What's your take on that?
I mean, I think it's wonderful because especially with today and with modern medicine, you kind of you can get to that point of a biological woman. Like you can get all of the hormones, you can have all of your, but you can have different, bottom surgery and things like that. I mean, that's something that I'm going to consider in the future. So I think it's just I think it all comes down to just like leave people be. Let these people exist because we have been fighting for so long for something as simple as respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's ridiculous that you have to fight so hard just to be perceived as a person and not less than.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I love this conversation. This is a great way and a great segue, not just for LGBTQ History Month, but for those people that don't know, next month will be Transgender Day of Remembrance, and it's every November, and we're going to actually have having segments with other trans people in our community to lead up to that, to give people a different take on what's going on within the trans community, and give trans people their chance to tell their own unique stories, because everybody's story is
Wonderful.
unique and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to have you on board, Rosemary.
You
Thank
know
you
I'll be
so
there.
thank you so much for not just being a part of our talent agency. I'm looking forward to what we can actually book for you, but I'm also looking forward to other things that I know that you're going to be involved with as it relates to trans issues. So thank you
Mhm.
so much. Where can people find you and your work, both you're both recent and previously?
Of course. If anybody is looking to just kind of drop a follow, you can find me on Instagram at Virgin Rosemary, like the Virgin Mary, of
That's
course.
right. That's right.
And if they are looking for any compilation of my work or things like that, they can actually reach out directly to you, Miko, and that you can hand out the link to my reel. That is something that I just kind of keep private because not everything on there is officially released yet.
That's right.
Um, but for watchful eyes, we can definitely make that happen. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much. And to all of our people who are viewing us right now, once again, thank you so much for your continued support. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep growing the numbers and stuff. We're in our 15th anniversary season. Yes, we've been doing this rodeo for a long time. All of the information is located at the bottom of your screen. Until our next episode, we're going to have coverage of our presence at this year's Atlanta Pride Festival, which we will be participating in the parade this coming Sunday. The Atlanta Pride Festival is going to be held in Piedmont Park on October the 14th and the 15th. And I know the VIP reception is going to be held at the Georgia Aquarium, which is held every year on Friday, which is, I think, is the 13th. We have a Friday the 13th in this month, y'all. Friday the 13th. And believe it or not, this past weekend, I was looking at all of the Friday the 13th from 1 to 8. Because all of that came out during the time when I was in elementary and high school. So I was catching up on all the horror nostalgia. Okay, so be sure to enjoy yourself. Continue to be safe. Rosemary, thank you once more and again for being a part of our show.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to what we can cook up in the future.
That's right. Until our next show, y'all take care. Happy Pride.
Ta ta.